Let it be. With me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to this Louie T Network exclusive. We've got more breaking news now. A little bit late on some of the other news. I stepped out of the house and I had a feeling this was going to happen. I knew something was going to take place. I told you it was a surprise Saturday. Surprise! And we had the Shady McCoy release from Buffalo. We talked about that earlier. Obviously, the Jadeveon Clowney trade to Seattle from Houston was a bombshell. Then, I feel like the Texans woke up, had their great big bowl of dummy bunches of oats, and they just decided, we're going to remake and reshape and remodel our football team today. Don't know if it's going to win us any ball games in the short term, but we're definitely willing to mortgage the future to do so. Now, I can give them credit for this, and I don't know how this is going to pan out. They're definitely going for it. For what exactly? I don't know, but they're going for it. All right? They better win, and they better win now, or this is going to be an epic fail, because what they've given up over the last 24 hours between Jadeveon Clowney and now all of these draft picks, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. But we'll get to the Texans in a second. Let's first start with the breaking news, the news that just actually came down through the waiver wire, all right, or the news wire, I should say. Shady McCoy is now a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. And I can't think of a better place for him to land. The Chiefs just traded, and we're talking about the Texans yet again, just traded Carlos Hyde to the Texans so that they can have a starting caliber running back in their backfield, which is a good move for the Texans. But the Chiefs, I don't know, maybe they were going to let go of Carlos Hyde. I don't really know. I don't know if he was going to be an integral part of their football team. Obviously not. And it made it a lot easier once they got Shady to sign on the dotted line for 1 year, $3 million with a chance for it to be $4 million with incentives and bonuses. It made it a lot easier to move on from Carlos Hyde. So maybe he would have been a part of the future if Shady doesn't come into the picture. But can you think of a better situation for a veteran back with the skill set of a Shady McCoy, who I think still has plenty left in the tank, can catch it out of the backfield, can run it? Can you think of a better place for him to land? I can't. I mean, this is like the rich getting richer. It seems like that's what happened on today. The rich got richer in Seattle. And again, this is a different level of rich getting richer, okay? Seattle getting richer was like, man, I got a job making $250K a year and I just hit the lotto. Man, it changed my life. I already had good money. Now I got really good money. All right. This is like Bill Gates hitting the lotto. He's already rich, doesn't need any more money, and now you're just giving him more money on top of the money he already had. Like, the Chiefs were fine, perfectly fine just the way they were. All right. You add no more pieces to the puzzle, and they're already a Super Bowl contending team. You now take the running back position, which to me wasn't broken, and it didn't need any upgrades to it. I'm probably a little bit higher on the Chiefs running back situation than most. I thought with Carlos Hyde being a little bit more of a hammer and Damian Williams being more of an all-purpose, all-around back, to me, now you got two of those types of guys, because Damian can catch it out of the backfield. Damian showed you he can run in between the tackles last year in the playoffs. And Damian showed you he can make guys miss out in space. So he brings a lot to the table. Now you add in a Shady McCoy who can do all of those things and has done it for a much longer period of time than Damian Williams has in his league. And not to mention, he's very comfortable, quite comfortable, in fact, with the head coach and what he likes to do. This is a match made in heaven for Shady McCoy and the Kansas City Chiefs. This couldn't have been a better pairing. And it sucks for the Chargers because the Chargers, they were ready. They were Tiffany Haddish ready to move on from Melvin Gordon III. They even told that man, matter of fact, Go find a trade. Go look for a trade, man. We done with you. Because they thought they had Shady all lined up. And they struck out. So that dynamic in L.A. is a unique one because while on one hand I think the Chargers can win without Melvin Gordon the third, they're not a better football team without him. So I think they're in a tough spot. I don't think they're going to be good this year anyway, but they're in a really tough spot. Whereas the Chiefs, they didn't need Shady McCoy, but he wanted to win. You know, he's at a point of his career now where he's made good money. He's on his third contract now, you know, even though this is a 1-year deal. He's made some good money throughout his career. And I think he's at the point now where he's like, man, I'm just trying to win. You know, I want to make money, which, you know, $3 million for 1 year, not bad. $4 million if you hit certain bonuses and incentives. But at this point of his career, he's like, yo, I just want a chance to win a Super Bowl. What better team can you go to than the Chiefs to have a chance to win? And so, yeah, I know you, New England. I hear your jokes. I understand New England is probably the best place you can go to win. But, I mean, if you're looking for a 1A, 1B type of situation, you know, the Rams and the Chiefs are it. And he chose the Chiefs. He's in a really good spot. So, like that move for the Chiefs. I love it for Shady McCoy. And I think that both are going to be better off because of this pairing between Shady McCoy and the Chiefs. 1 year, $3 million deal with incentives. It could get to $4 million for Shady McCoy. Now let's get to the Texans. After they finally put their bowl of dummy bunches of oats down. And let's talk about what this Texans football team looks like now. So you add Laramie Tunsil, you add Kenny Stills. These are two good football players that are going to help the Texans right now. And Laramie Tunsil is a left tackle for now and into the future. And left tackle is such a crapshoot. You know, you can either hit it big or you could whiff big. We've seen teams like the Giants select Eric Flowers in the first round, and it just not work out. We've seen teams like the Giants select the tackle out of Syracuse in the first round, and it just not work out. All right, we've seen teams whiff in the first round trying to find the left tackle of the future. It happens all the time. So if you can get a guy established in the league, still in the prime of his career, still on the first deal that he signed in this league on his rookie contract, and you know that you're getting a rock-solid left tackle, I'm not mad at the Texans for doing that. What I am upset at the Texans for is what they gave up to do this. Like, oh, man, you're literally mortgaging the future here to get two football players that everybody else looks around the league and says, hey, yeah, they're good football players, but you could have probably drafted one of those guys with one of those 2 first-round picks you gave up, or that second-rounder you gave up, or the third-rounder you gave up to Seattle. I mean, or you got it, you know, the one you got in return. I don't know. It's at the end of the day, as I said at the top of this show, you better win. That's in now. I'm not talking about next year, the year. You better win now. And you can't quantify this with just a Super Bowl. Like, the Texans haven't been out of, the first round, second round? With Deshaun Watson, they haven't been out of the first round, okay? So, obviously, that's the goal. Let's get out of the first round. Let's do that first, and then we can talk about matters of the AFC Championship game and all of that good jazz down the road. Let's get out of the first round first. So, one, you got to make the postseason, which I don't think you're going to make. Even with these moves, I still don't think you're a postseason team. 2, you got to win a playoff game. And 3, you got to be able to re-sign Tunsil, and you got to get something really good out of Kenny Stills right away. All right? So, obviously, those are all things that you look at from this deal, and you say, these guys better be ballers for you because you gave up 2 1s and a 2. Not just 2 1s. That was enough by some. And here's the kicker. Here's the final kicker here. Is not only did you give up 2 1s and a 2, you had to throw in Johnson Batamosi, the best name in the entire National Football League. Let me say that one more time. Johnson Batamosi. Had to throw in a special teams demon like Johnson Batamosi. And you had to throw in Julian Davenport. I mean, god damn. I mean, that's insult to injury is what that is. After giving up 2 1s and a 2, I'm not throwing in a goddamn player. Not a single one. All right? This is not an NBA deal where I got to make the numbers work, where the contracts have to be even. All right? I'm not throwing in no damn player after I just gave up 2 1s and a 2. And I know it's Laramie Tunsil, and I know he's a top flight left tackle, and those are hard to find, and so you had to pay the price. 1 first-round pick is enough for Laramie Tunsil. Kenny Stills is not worth a first-round pick. Damn sure not worth 2 and a second and 2 more players. Okay? So, again, this is what happens when you let people like Billy O run the show. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The Texans are running this situation into the ground. I actually do like that they're trying to protect their investment in Deshaun Watson because he needs the help desperately. That offensive line was going to get him killed. Okay? Stick Laramie Tunsil at left tackle. It's going to help solidify the rest of that line. Okay? Now, you look at Kenny Stills. He gives you a deep threat and another option opposite of Nuke, because what we've seen in the past is that you cannot count on Will Fuller to stay healthy. So once Will Fuller gets injured, now it's tough because everyone's keying in on Nuke, and there's no other threat on the opposite side to stretch the field vertically. Now enter in Kenny Stills, who can do that. And we all knew that situation was going awry in Miami, when we started hearing rumblings and grumblings about him playing Nas and his head coach playing Jay-Z and him trying to that shit was going south quick. All right, they were already in Miami and the shit was still going south. I'm like, damn, you about to end up in the ocean, bruh. It's going so far south. So we knew that situation was becoming really toxic, and we heard that a mutiny was going to be started if Laramie Tunsil was traded. Well, he's been traded. Start mutiny right now. All right? Nothing's going to happen in Miami. They know, and you know what? I applaud Miami. Golf clap for them. You know why it's a golf clap for them? Because they did something that NFL teams don't like to do. They acknowledge the fact that they're going to stink. Not just stink in 2019. And they're embracing it. They're like, yo, we are stockpiling picks for the future. All right. Now, a wise man told me, look, I also saw Cleveland stockpile a bunch of picks and pick a bunch of dummies and a bunch of goons and a bunch of clowns. So we've seen teams get a bunch of picks, and those picks turn into Brandon Whedon and Justin. What's the corner name from Oklahoma State? Yeah, y'all know who I'm talking about. And a whole slew of other clowns that they spent first round and second round picks on that didn't pan out. So it doesn't matter that Miami has all these picks. It's what you do with these picks. Everyone wants to have that Dallas Cowboys early 90s, late 80s, Jimmy Johnson, Herschel Walker trade model, where you just get all these picks and you turn around a franchise fast, sooner rather than later, like super fast. And you want to hit on these picks, and you want to draft a Troy Aikman and a Emmitt Smith and a Michael Irvin and a Russell Maryland and all of these guys, all right, that help you win a Super Bowl. But that's generally not how this works. And so we're going to find out what the Dolphins do with all of these picks that they have gotten from moving on from Laramie Tunsil. And my thing with the Dolphins, and again, I don't know what the situation is like in Miami, and if these players were toxic, similar to, a couple of years ago when they moved on from Juice, they moved on from Jay Ajayi, they moved on from Pouncey, and all of these guys that we thought were quality football players that they just told to hit the bricks. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know if these players wanted out, or if these players were troublemakers, or these guys were too vocal in the locker room. When you're trying to set a culture and you got veteran guys in the locker room that are veteran presence in the locker room, being a voice that's louder than the head coach, then maybe you need to move on from some of these guys. I don't know. I can't speak to that. I can, however, say if you're a young team in a developmental stage, don't you think you want a guy like Laramie Tunsil? Maybe not Kenny Stills, okay? Maybe Kenny Stills, and again, he was a throw-in in this deal, just to make it a little sweeter. I'm going to get 2 first-round picks in a 2. You better make the deal sweet. It was like making that tropical punch Kool-Aid. Hey, man, you better put some more damn sugar in there, man. I want this shit. Like, I want this goddamn Candy Lady sweet. You know, one of them freeze cup sweets. You know what I'm saying? The shit to give you diabetes. Soon as it goes down, you like, damn, I feel like I just got a damn sugar rush. I think Kenny was one of those throw-ins to the deal to sweeten it up a bit. But if I'm the Dolphins, don't you want Laramie Tunsil? Isn't he a part of rebuilding? Like, it's not like he's 30 years old and you're like, man, by the time we get good, he won't be. Like, Laramie Tunsil is literally going. He's not even at the prime. He's going into the prime. So by the time you turn this around, which in the NFL is like 3 years, you know, you're looking to try to turn something around. You know, 2 years at the earliest, 3 years, you're probably right there. He'll be right in the smackdown prime of his career. So I really don't get that deal. But again, they want draft capital. That's what it's all about in Miami right now. They're like, look, to hell with trying to win, which is another reason why I'm like, why are you starting fitty if it's all about trying to build for the future? Don't you need to start Josh Rosen so you can figure out if he's any good or not? Now, at this point, I think it's probably in your best interest to throw fitty out there initially, because who the hell is blocking for him now? With Laramie Tunsil on the move, and who is he throwing it to with Kenny Stills now gone? I don't know the answer to that. I'm pretty sure some Dolphins fans will enlighten me, and I'm looking forward to hearing that. But in any event, this is a trade that really gives the Dolphins a ton of draft capital going into the 2020 draft. And I honestly think that the Texans aren't going to be all that great themselves, even though this trade does give them more ammunition to get better in 2019 and have a much better outcome. And after the move to go and acquire, and again, these guys are just pushing all the chips into the middle of the table because, you know, they're just shelling out picks, you know, and that's how you end up bad in the future. When you start giving away draft picks, like it's water, you know what I mean? Like you just got it like that. You're fluid with them. All right, I get more. That's when if it doesn't work now, you're gonna pay for it later. So hard for me to fathom what the Texans were doing all day on Saturday. Again, that's a rough day, man. Now I can say, and I said it at the top of the show, and I'll say it once more, because they can prove all of us wrong. And some of you might love what they've done today, but they could prove all of us wrong by going out and win. They go out and they win. We look like dummies. They look like the smart ones. But if this shit backfires, man, will we say August 31st, 2019 was the day the Texans lost their goddamn minds. And that shit is going to cost some people their damn jobs. But right now in the interim, I've always said that I want to take a wait-and-see approach to when teams do these overhauls. I said the same thing when the Giants decided to move on from Olivier Vernon, when they decided to move on from, shame on you if you step to the old dirty Beckham, ODB. I said, okay, all right, I'm going to give you a chance to figure this shit out. I'm going to give you a chance to draft all these players, all this draft capital you've acquired. I'm going to give you a chance to see if you can turn all this stuff into gold. I'm going to give you a chance to see if Jabril Peppers fits on your defense. You let Landon Collins go. Okay, we're going to see if all of this works. It better work. Because if it doesn't, heads will roll. I feel the same way in Houston. I'm going to give you a chance to see how all of this pans out. If you go 8-8, if you go 7-9 this year, heads are going to roll. All right? I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Well, that's what happened today. A lot of interesting moves made around the National Football League, but none more interesting than the ones involving the Houston Texans on this day. It'll be interesting to see what moves come down the pipeline from other teams. Zeke Elliott getting closer to a deal in Dallas. thought that would be the case as we got closer to the season. I, as a Redskin fan, was just hoping that they had the Emmitt Smith 1993 flashback. Jerry decided to wait the first 2 weeks. They happened to be 2 losses, one to my Redskins. Hell, if you beat the Giants in week 1, I don't give a shit about them. I care about my boys. I was looking forward to not having Zeke in the lineup for the first 2 weeks. And then, boom, you can sign him after you lose to the Redskins unexpectedly. And I would have been just fine with that. But looks like they're going to get something done. He'll be ready to go week 1. He didn't want to be in camp anyway. It's all good. Everything is probably going to go the way that it was supposed to be. And then there'll be just one. Because Clowney's now in Seattle. Zeke will be back in. And then there'll just be, well, I'll say 2. Everyone forgets about Trent Williams in that situation just because it's a mess in Washington. But then there'll just be 2. Melvin Gordon III and Trent Williams in Washington. But we will see what happens with those situations as we get closer to the season. I expect some resolution with one of those situations and not so much with the other. In any event, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. I got one favor to ask of you guys, and I should have asked this at the jump, but I'm going to ask it now. I was recently sponsored by LG, and I appreciate all of the well wishes from all of you and all the big ups from you guys. I really appreciate it, and this isn't possible without you. But I'm asking a favor of you guys. If you could just go and support the video, like the video, comment in the comment section what you would do with 2. It's greatly appreciated, man. So I can't thank you guys enough for all the support. And as we continue to build this thing into a big conglomerate, man, a lot of it is because of you guys out there. And I thank you so much. But in any event, if it's not your man T, it's not the best NFL coverage it could be. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and like the video. Share it as well if you would. Please. Thanks. And see you guys next time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. More college football, man. That Auburn-Oregon game was pretty damn good. And your number 1 overall pick, when the game was on the line, not so hot. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. In any event, I'm your man, Louie T. See you guys next time. Have a good one.
Louie T Network.